Nobody accidentally becomes broke. Nobody accidentally stays broke either. And that is the part nobody is talking about. The version of you that is reading bank statements and feeling a quiet dread in your chest. The version of you that earns more, but somehow never has more. The version that knows all the right financial moves and still cannot seem to make them. That version of you did not arrive here by accident. You were shaped into this. Long before you ever opened a bank account, long before you earned your first paycheck, your nervous system was already being wired with very specific instructions about what money means, what money does to people, and whether someone like you is allowed to have it. And the most dangerous part is that you cannot see these instructions because they do not feel like beliefs. They feel like reality. They feel like facts. They feel like you. There are 3 core nervous system responses that were conditioned during the moments that shaped you. And by the end of this video, you will know exactly which one is controlling your life. If you stay with this video, what you are about to understand is not a financial tip. It is not a budgeting strategy. It is something far more fundamental and far more unsettling, because the moment you see it clearly, you will not be able to unsee it. There is a pattern living inside you right now that is quietly making every financial decision on your behalf, and has been doing this your entire adult life. Researchers in behavioral economics, neuroscience, and attachment theory have spent decades trying to explain why intelligent, hardworking people consistently fail to build lasting wealth. And what they found is not what the personal finance industry wants you to hear. The problem is not discipline. The problem is not knowledge. The problem is not even income. The problem is the nervous system. When your body perceives money as a threat, and for millions of people it does, your stress response activates before your rational mind even enters the room. You do not think your way out of financial anxiety. You feel your way through it, or you do not move at all. This is why someone can read every book about investing and still freeze when it is time to act. This is why someone can receive a windfall and unconsciously find ways to spend it all within months. This is why someone can build a business up to a certain level and then, inexplicably, begin making decisions that dismantle it. The ceiling is not in the market. The ceiling is in the nervous system. Subscribe to this channel right now, because what we build here week after week is not generic financial advice. What we build here is the kind of understanding that actually changes behavior. Not because it tells you what to do, but because it shows you why you keep doing what you do. Your subconscious programming around money was installed during moments of emotional intensity, moments of fear, of scarcity, of watching the adults in your life respond to financial pressure. Those moments became your template. In your brain, which is fundamentally a pattern recognition machine designed to keep you alive, has been running that template on autopilot ever since. When you feel a spike of anxiety before checking your account balance, that is not a personality trait. That is a conditioned response your nervous system learned in childhood. When you sabotage a financial opportunity right before it materializes, that is not laziness or stupidity. That is your subconscious enforcing the identity it believes you hold. When you feel guilty for wanting more money, when you feel almost ashamed for thinking about wealth, when the idea of being financially successful feels slightly dangerous or arrogant or disconnected from who you really are, none of that is coming from logic. All of it is coming from programming that was written without your consent, and that has been running without your awareness. And here's what makes this so insidious. The nervous system does not distinguish between a real threat and a perceived one. The same biological response that activates when a predator is near activates when you look at a credit card bill. The same chemical cascade that floods your body during genuine danger floods it when someone asks you how much you earn. Your body is responding to money the way early humans responded to survival threats. And that state of chronic financial stress does not just feel terrible. It literally impairs the cognitive functions you need most to make good decisions. Under stress, the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for long-term planning, impulse control, and rational judgment, goes offline. You literally cannot think straight when your nervous system is dysregulated. Which means every time you sit down to make a financial decision from a place of fear or shame or urgency, you are making that decision with a compromised brain. This is not a motivational speech. This is neuroscience, and this is the foundation of everything we explore on this channel. So let us go deeper, because understanding the biology is only the beginning. The more important question is where your specific pattern came from. Not the generic pattern, your pattern. Because every person who struggles with money has a slightly different internal story, but most of them trace back to one of 3 core nervous system responses that were conditioned during formative experiences. The first is the freeze response. This is the person who knows they need to act, but cannot. They have the information. They have the intention. They even have moments of motivation. But when it comes to actually moving money, making the investment, having the conversation with their employer, building the emergency fund, something stops them. Not laziness. Freeze. The body has learned that financial action is associated with pain, loss, conflict, or rejection, and it immobilizes before the risk can materialize. The second is the flight response. This is the person who stays perpetually busy, always consuming more information, always preparing, always planning, always about to start but never quite arriving. The research, the spreadsheets, the courses, the podcasts, the constant sense of not knowing enough yet. This is not diligence. This is avoidance disguised as productivity. The nervous system has learned that staying in motion prevents the vulnerability of actually committing, and commitment is where real loss becomes possible. The third is the fawn response, and this one is rarely discussed in financial contexts, but may be the most common of all. This is the person who cannot hold on to money because holding it feels selfish, who gives it away before it accumulates, who undercharges, over-delivers, and consistently prioritizes everyone else's financial comfort before their own, who feels a deep physiological discomfort when they try to receive, to keep, to accumulate. This pattern often traces back to environments where love was conditional on self-sacrifice, or where having more than others felt morally dangerous. If you do not understand which of these 3 patterns lives inside you, you will keep repeating the same financial cycle for the next 10 years. That is not a prediction. That is a pattern. Subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications, because every video we release is designed to help you identify and dismantle exactly this. What makes all 3 of these responses so powerful is not just that they exist, but that your brain has spent decades building neural infrastructure to support them. Every time you froze in the face of a financial decision, a neural pathway was reinforced. Every time you avoided the discomfort of actually looking at your finances, that avoidance became more automatic. Every time you gave away what you needed to keep, the belief that you do not deserve to hold wealth became more deeply encoded. You're not dealing with a bad habit. You're dealing with a deeply grooved automatic response system that feels more like your identity than a pattern you adopted. And this is the critical insight. These responses are not permanent. The brain is neuroplastic. The nervous system can be reconditioned, but it cannot be reconditioned through information alone. It cannot be reconditioned through willpower or discipline or vision boards. It requires something more fundamental, which is regulation. Safety. The felt experience of being in proximity to money without activating the threat response. This is why the wealthiest people, do not feel like they are fighting their finances. They feel safe with money. Not because they have more of it, but because at some point their nervous system received enough evidence to update its threat assessment. Money stopped being dangerous. And that internal shift is what this channel exists to help you create. Think about the last time you had an unexpected expense and the dread that followed. Think about the last time someone asked about your financial situation and your body tightened before your mouth opened. Think about the last time you came close to a financial breakthrough and then quietly, almost invisibly, found a reason it could not work. Those were not random moments. Those were your nervous system executing its programming with perfect precision. Most people will watch this and do nothing. But if you do something with what you just learned, if you take even one honest look at which pattern is running your financial life right now, your financial reality will look completely different 12 months from now. That is not motivation. That is how nervous system reprogramming actually works. And that is exactly what we are building here, one video at a time.